Hello dear students. Today we are going to do fourth part of the lecture series. As you all know, we are doing chapter number 1, electric charges and fields. And today we are going to study vector form of Coulomb's law, numericals based on vector form of Coulomb's law, electric field due to a point charge, electric field lines and their properties. So let us start. The first topic for the day is vector form of Coulomb's law. For that, first of all, we have to make a diagram to understand it, and then after I'll tell you why we need vector form. Let this be your coordinate axis. Let there be a point, and that point there be a charge q1. Another point, let the position vector of this charge q1 is r1 vector. Okay, another point, here the charge q2 is there and its position vector is r2 vector. Okay, if the separation between the charges is a small r, then all we know that q1 and q2, if they are of same type, if they are positive, if they are negative, then they repel each other. For this moment of time, let us consider that q1 and q2 are positive. Then the force which act on q1 will be called F12 vector, force on 1 due to 2, and it will be away from the q2 because the force is of repulsion. Moreover, the force acting on the q2 will be called F21, force on 2 due to 1, and it will be away from the q1 as both the charges are repelling each other. Now, all we know that from Coulomb's law, F12 vector magnitude is equal to magnitude of F21 vector is equal to F, and for F we have a formula k q1 q2 by r square. Let this be question number 1. Now let us discuss why we need a vector form of Coulomb's law. All we know that force is a vector quantity, and this equation F is equal to k q1 q2 by r square. In the left hand side we have force which is a vector quantity, but in the right hand side we have not a vector quantity here. We have k which is a constant, we have charges, we have magnitude of the charges which is again scalar, then again r square, it is also a scalar quantity. So in the right hand side we don't have any vector quantity. To justify the relation, in the right hand side also we put a vector so that both the sides becomes vector and the equation is justified. So this is all about putting a vector in the right hand side such that the equation also remains the same and we put force as a vector. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to define one vector, and this vector is from 1 to 2. As you can see, here is an arrow. This vector is from 1 to 2, from 1 to 2, and let this vector be r21 vector. Okay, why is it r21 vector? In few moments you will come to know. Now from figure, if you are able to see that r1 vector and r21 vector, they are combined head to tail, and the r2 vector is in reverse order. So from triangular law of vector addition, what we can say that r1 vector plus r21 vector is equal to r2 vector, because these two vectors are in the same cycle, and this is in opposite order. These are in the same order, and this r2 vector is in opposite order. The resultant of these two vector will become r2 vector. This is from the triangular law of vector addition. Now the value of r21 vector, the magnitude of r21 vector will be equal to r only. So magnitude of r21 vector is equal to r. Now from here, if we want to calculate the value of r21, then what we are going to have? We are going to have r21 is equal to r2 vector minus r1 vector. Now from here, I can tell you why I have put this vector as r21 vector. Just see, if you remember that relative velocity formula, velocity of 1 with respect to 2, it was v12 is equal to v1 minus v2. Relative acceleration, a12 is equal to a1 minus a2. In the same manner, here it is r21 is equal to r2 minus r1. So that you can understand, that's why it is like that. Okay. The value of r21 is r2 minus r1. That's why it is said as r21 vector. Okay. Now let us move ahead. Now what we are going to do, we are going to calculate a unit vector in the direction of r21 vector. So let this be equation number 1. Now unit vector of r21 vector, how it will be? So you must be knowing this formula that a cap is equal to a vector upon magnitude of a vector. I am going to use this formula. So r21 cap is equal to what? r21 vector upon magnitude of r21 vector. Now that r21 vector is equal to what? It is equal to a magnitude of r21 is equal to r only, so it will become r21 vector upon r. Now I'll put the value of r21 vector. We are going to have r21 cap is equal to r2 minus r1 upon r. Let this be equation number 3. So this is the value of r21 unit vector. Now this direction of r21 unit vector will be in the direction of r21 vector only, means from q1 to q2. So we have a vector which magnitude is 1. It is actually a unit vector, and it is in the direction of f21 because its direction is from 1 to 2. It is the same direction as in the f21 is working. So what we are going to do, we are going to associate this unit vector in this equation, and we are going to write it for f21. So what we are going to have from here, from Coulomb's law, f21 vector is equal to kq1 q2 upon r square r21 cap. Now just see this equation and equation number 1, they are two different things. Why is it so? In equation number 1, it is f, only magnitude is written. Here also magnitude. Here that f21 vector, it is the vector, it has magnitude and direction. And the right hand side, kq1 q2 by r square, it is the magnitude, and r21 cap, it is the direction. Okay, unit vector, it is for direction. Now I'll put the value of r21 vector. We are going to have f21 vector is equal to kq1 q2 by r square r2 vector minus r1 vector upon r, or if we multiply r square and r in the denominator, we are going to have kq1 q2 in bracket r2 vector minus r1 vector upon r cube. Let this be okay. Now this is called vector form of Coulomb's law. Now if for f12 we have to write, then what will happen? Instead of drawing r21, then we would have drawn r12 vector from 2 to 1. So here it will be changed. In place of r2 it will be r1, in place of r1 it will be r2. We'll exchange r1 and r2. Then similarly for r12 vector, for f12 vector, it will be k q1 q2 in bracket r1 vector minus r2 vector upon r cube. Let this be our equation number 4, and this be equation number 5. These two equations are called vector form of Coulomb's law. And from equation 4 and 5, it is very clear that here just see, it is r1 minus r2, and this equation number 4, it is r2 minus r1, and all the other things are same. So from here one more thing we can say, and that thing is f12 vector minus is equal to minus f21 vector. Obviously forces are equal in magnitude, opposite in direction. So these are two opposite vectors, and for opposite vectors we can write the equation f12 vector is equal to minus f21 vector. So this is all about vector form of Coulomb's law. But here we have done a particular case when both the charges are positive. What would have happened if one of the charges is negative or both of the charges are negative? If suppose both of the charges are negative, then there will be no difference in the equation, because again the forces will be of repulsion and all the things are going to be the same. But if one of the charges is negative and other is positive, then what will happen? Instead of repulsion, it would have a force of attraction. And how we should handle this situation, let us understand in the next slide. Okay, now we have a situation in which you can see this is the diagram just we have made. Okay, both the charges are positive, forces of repulsion. The F12 comes out to be K Q1 Q2 R1 minus R2, and F21 comes out to be K Q1 Q2 R2 minus R1 whole upon R cube. Okay, that we have done. But suppose Q2 is negative, then what will happen? Instead of forces, here it was repulsion, but here it would be of attraction. Now the force on Q2 will be towards Q1 and force on Q1 will be towards Q2. Earlier the force on Q2 will be away from the Q1, now it is towards the Q1. Now what I'm going to say, please listen to that carefully. Here the direction of F21, here the direction of F21 is same as the direction of F12 in this case. Just see, it is in this direction and it is also in the same direction. Here the direction of F21 vector in the first case, it is same as here it is F12. Then what will happen? This R1 minus R2 will get changed. For this condition, for the second condition, when Q2 becomes negative, it will be like F12 is equal to, earlier it was R1 minus R2, R1 minus R2, 1 minus 2, now it will become 2 minus 1. Okay, F12 is equal to R2 minus R1 upon R cube. Moreover, for F21 vector will also change, it will become R1 minus R2 upon R cube. All the things will remain same. So how we are going to understand and how we are going to apply the formula for different cases? So there are two methods to learn. First, if the charges are of same type, then if here comes 1 2, you have to put 1 minus 2. If here comes 2 1, you have to put 2 minus 1, right? And if the charges are of opposite type, then F12 means 2 minus 1, just reverse the order. 2 1 is 1 minus 2. Okay, if charges are of same type, then keep the order same. If F12 is there, you will put 1 minus 2. 2 1 is there, you will put 2 minus 1. But if one of the charge is negative and force is of attraction, then you 1 2 will put 2 minus 1. Just change the order. It is 1 2 and here it is 2 minus 1. And here it is 2 1. It will become 1 minus 2. Is it clear? So this is how we learn. And one more method is there. And that method I prefer. While writing the formula for vector form of Coulomb's law, what we do, we put the charge with the same sign and will use this equation only. The first we have learned. 1 2, 1 minus 2. Okay, what you have to do, you have to put the charges with sign. Okay, so it will automatically take this form. Suppose here if you put Q2 negative, then it will take this form. Okay, so what we do, we'll use the formula like 2 1 to 2 minus 1, but what we do, we put charges with the sign. Is it clear? By any method you can learn. Now let us solve a numerical on the basis of Coulomb's vector form so that we can understand. Let us take a question. Question is, find the force on a charge 20 microcoulomb due to the charge minus 10 microcoulomb if the position of the charges is given by 1 minus 1 2 meter and minus 2 minus 5 2 meter respectively. Okay, these are the coordinates which have been given. Now if the coordinates are given, we come to know position vector. From position vector we can easily solve to get the force by using vector form of Coulomb's law. Let us try to understand. Solution. Position vector of 1 minus 1 2 is given by R1 vector is equal to I cap minus j cap plus 2k cap. In the same manner, position vector of minus 2 minus 5 2 is given by R2 vector is equal to minus 2i minus 5j plus 2k cap. Now the distance between these two charges will get by using the distance formula. Separation between the two charges is given by r is equal to under root x1 minus x2 whole square plus y1 minus y2 whole square plus z1 minus z2 whole square. We'll put the values. We are going to have 1 plus 2 whole square minus 1 plus 5 whole square plus 2 minus 2 whole square, it will become under root 9 plus 16, it will become 25, and the root of 25 is 5 meter. So separation is 5 meter. Distance we have calculated. Now force on 20 microcoulomb due to minus 10 microcoulomb. So 20 microcoulomb is our first and 10 microcoulomb is our second. Okay. So force on 20 microcoulomb due to minus 10 microcoulomb is given by F12 is equal to K Q1 Q2 R1 minus R2 upon RQ. Now I am using 1 to 1 minus 2. Okay. So what we do, we'll put the charges with the sign. Let us put the values. We are going to have F12 is equal to, in place of K it is 9 to 10 to the power 9. In place of Q1 it is 20 into 10 to the power minus 6, because it in microcoulomb we have to convert it into coulomb. Same goes with minus 10 microcoulomb. Just see, I have put the charge with the sign. And what I have used in the formula, same order, 1 to 1 minus 2. Okay. Upon the distance is 5, that will become 5 cube. In bracket for vectors R1 minus R2. Value of R1 it is written above. Value of R2 also written above. We'll put the values. Now if we solve it, what we are going to have? We are going to have 9 to 10 to the power 9 into 20 into 10 to the power minus 6 into minus 10 into 10 to the power minus 6. If you solve the vector, then 2k and 2k will be cancelled out. So what we are going to have, 3i plus 4j. Okay. Then after, by solving this side, it is a simple mathematics. You can solve it easily. And here we are going to have F12 vector is equal to 18 upon 125 in bracket minus 3i cap plus 4j cap. Okay. This is the answer of our question. Is it clear? So this is how we use vector form of Coulomb's law. If the coordinates of the charges are given, we use vector form. This is all about vector Coulomb's law. Now we are moving to the next topic, and which is electric field. What is electric field? The electric field is basically, it is the space around a charge in which its influence is felt by any other charge. Okay. Now basically what happens whenever two charges are there and they are separated by a finite distance, then both charges experience forces due to each other. So because of one charge, there is certain region in which other charge can experience its influence. That very region is called electric field. We define strength or intensity of electric field, and it is defined by the strength of electric field at any point is defined as the electric force per unit charge acting at that point. Mathematical form is E vector is equal to limit Q naught tends to 0 F vector upon Q naught. Okay. By definition, if you say electric force per unit charge, then we must write F vector upon Q naught only. Why we have used the limit part? Because the test charge, which is Q naught, is actually considered to be very small, positive and point sized. Why is it so? Let me clarify you. The test charge is taken of very small magnitude. It is actually because so that the Q naught does not disturb the configuration of electric field due to the source charge. Suppose we are calculating the electric field due to a source charge capital Q, and if Q naught have significant value in comparison to capital Q, then what will happen, wherever it will be placed, it will disturb the configuration of the source charge. Okay, it will exert some force on the Q naught and there exert on the force on source charge, and therefore there is possibility that capital Q starts moving, and in that case electric field will get changed. That's why Q naught is taken so small that its own influence is not there at any point in the given space. Q naught is taken very small so that its own influence is not taken, becomes very small and hence negligible in the given space. It is taken positive and it is taken point sized. Okay. Electric field is a vector quantity and it is in the direction of electric force, and from the mathematical equation it is very much clear, and its SI unit is what? Newton per coulomb. Now if a source charge capital Q is there, and what will be the electric field due to it. So let us solve. Let this be a charge capital Q, and at a distance r from it there is we put a test charge, that is Q naught. Okay, so at Q naught will experience a force. The force will be in this direction. Obviously the electric field acting at that point will be in the same direction as the forces. Now electric field is defined as E vector is equal to F vector upon Q naught. If you put the value of F vector, then we have Q naught upon R square into Q naught. But one problem is there, that F vector value, so we have a unit vector along the direction of F. So what we are going to do, we are going to define a unit vector in this direction, and we'll put n cap over here. Now Q naught will get cancelled, and E vector comes out to be KQ upon R square n cap. So this is the formula for the electric field due to a charge capital Q at a distance r from it. Okay, this is the electric field due to a point charge. Now let us move ahead. Now we are going to discuss electric field lines. What are electric field lines? Actually these lines are imaginary, which represent direction of electric field as well as strength of electric field in a given space. But when we say strength, actually I have not written it because it does not show strength, it actually shows relative strength. We cannot tell what is the value of electric field, what is the strength of electric field at a particular point, but if at 2 points the electric field configurations are there, electric fields are drawn, so by comparing them we can tell at which point the electric field is higher and at which point the electric field is lower. Okay, so because of electric field lines we can tell comparative strength, but exact value of electric field we cannot calculate. So basically electric fields are imaginary lines which represent direction of electric field at that point. Now due to different charge system, electric field configurations are different. Let us see them one by one. First we are going to take is due to a single isolated positive charge. The electric field pattern is going to be in this manner. It is radial outward. Okay, all the field lines are radially outward from a point charge which is positive. Second, we are going to take due to a single isolated negative charge. It is as the same as a positive charge, but the difference is now the electric field lines are radially inward towards the negative charge. From these two we can understand one point, that electric field lines originate from positive charge and terminate to negative charge. Okay. Third charge system is due to two like and equal charges. Configuration is like this. Since two positive charges will repel each other, that's why electric field lines are also going to repel each other, and the configuration is as shown as in the diagram. But suppose if one is positive and one is negative, then what will happen? The electric field configuration is like this. From positive charge electric fields are originating, to the negative charge electric fields are terminating. Okay, but these are the configurations for equal and opposite, equal and like. Now what we are going to do, we are going to do some extra ones, and those are electric field due to like but unequal charges. Two unequal charges are there, but they are of same type, means they are positive, but they are of unequal magnitude. Configuration will be like this. Now what I want to tell you from the diagram, just see, from this positive charge so many electric field lines are there. From this positive charge only few electric field lines were there. Now because of this, what we can do, we can tell the ratio of magnitude of the charges. Just count how many electric field lines are there from this positive charge. Okay, let us count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 electric field lines were there from this positive charge, and from this positive charge it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what is the ratio of the magnitude? It is 6:18, that is 1:3. Is it clear? Ratio of magnitude of charges can be calculated by counting the electric field lines which are given in the configuration. If both the charges are equal, then equal number of electric field lines will emit. Okay. Okay, same goes with when two charges are unlike, means they are of opposite type and they are unequal. Configuration will be like this. Obviously from here we can say that positive charge is of greater magnitude and negative charge is of a smaller magnitude. For help I have written plus 2q here minus q over here. The ratio of magnitude of charges is 2:1. Let us count the electric field lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, plus 4, 15. And from here 3, 4 plus 4, 8. 8 electric field lines are there from negative charge, and I hope 16 electric field lines are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From 8 from one side, 8 from another side, it will become 16. 16 electric field lines are originating from plus 2q, but only 8 electric field lines are terminating to minus q. Okay, so what is the ratio? 16:8, it is 2:1. Is it clear? So this is how the pattern of electric field is there. Now we are going to discuss some properties of electric field lines. The first property is electric field lines are starting from positive charge and end on negative charge or at infinity. If it is single isolated positive charge, then electric field line will end at infinity. If it is one positive, one negative, then electric field will end at the negative charge. Okay, that we have discussed. Second point is the tangent drawn at any point represents the direction of electric field at that point. Okay, suppose if you want to find the direction of electric field, we draw a tangent over here, so this will be the direction of electric field. Third point is the relative separation between electric field lines indicate the strength of electric field. Closer electric field lines represent a stronger field, whereas rarer field lines represent weaker field. Okay, lines should not be there. Is it clear? Closer field lines will represent a stronger field, whereas rarer field lines represent weaker field. Okay, like here, just see here the field lines are closer to each other, they represent a strong electric field. Here it is represent weaker electric field. Same goes here also. Is it clear? Next point, the number of field lines emerging from a positive charge is proportional to the magnitude of the charge. Also, the number of field lines terminating on the negative charge is proportional to the magnitude of that charge. As I have calculated the ratio, you have seen in the fifth and sixth configuration. Next point is two field lines never intersect each other. If they do, they then will have two different directions of electric field at the point of intersection, which is impossible. Okay, in this point you must have studied in class 10th also. Okay, two electric field lines never intersect each other. If they do, then what will happen at the point of intersection? We'll get two different directions of electric field, which is not possible. Okay, from here we have so many other things also. One more point is there, just come in my mind, that electric field lines never form a closed loop. Please note it down. Electric field lines never form a closed loop, as it starts from positive and terminate to negative. Okay, so there is no chance that electric field line starts from a particular point and end at that particular point only. Electric field lines never form a closed loop. One more point, electric field lines are always continuous. There is no sudden breaks in the electric field lines. Is it clear? The electric field lines can never break at any point if it is from a charge configuration. Okay, so basically electric field lines are closed, they are continuous, they starts from positive and to negative. Tangent tells the direction of electric field. Relative separation tells the strength of electric field. Number of field lines tells about the magnitude, and two field lines can never intersect each other. So this is all for the day. Till here we have done electric field. In the next video lecture we are going to solve some numericals based on the electric field, and then after we'll do charge distribution, and due to that electric field. Then after we'll start dipole. Is it clear? After dipole, Gauss law, so many things are there in the chapter, and the chapter is quite bigger. Okay, so hope you are doing your lectures. Okay, in very few days you'll be getting your assignment for the wave optics also. Okay, so this is all for the day. Hope you are doing good. Thank you.